All my beliefs were challenged recently, as in earlier today, in discovering that this, which I've always thought of as being a turnip, is actually not a turnip. This is a rutabaga, Brassica napus, hence the Scottish name of neeps, and it is slightly different because it's a happy hybrid where wild turnips ran free and got jiggy somewhere in Scandinavia to produce this hybrid. First mentioned by Linnaeus, I think in the 1630s. So therefore, whenever the Irish are making turnip heads of things, you know, jack-o'-lanterns, the proper ones, not pumpkins, if they're making them out of these lads, they are only making them from the 17th century onwards. However, that being said, the wild turnip, Brassica napa, or Brassica rapa, rapas and napas, they possibly are a lot earlier. They may have come over with terminus post-quem date of about 400-500 AD. And he's helping dig. Finbar is helping look how one would actually dig for wild turnips. This is my beautiful assistant, who will probably get very tired in a moment. That being said, they may, the wild Swede may in fact, or the wild turnip, may in fact be indigenous. May in fact, that's enough dear, may in fact be indigenous to Ireland, simply because in fact there's a small colony up in Whitehead that says that they may in fact be originals from really way back. So the jury is out as to how far back the wild turnip actually goes, but somewhere up in Whitehead there's lots of them, like little Pokemon oddishes with their lovely yellow flowers doing their thing. So in fact the ancient Irish, or not ancient but the early medieval Irish, could possibly have been making jack-o'-lanterns out of turnips, which are smaller than these, because, say, rutabaga, much bigger, much chunkier. So today we are going to make a face of one of these things, and let's go to the kitchen. It was traditional whenever I was a kid that whenever you went out with your turnip and you're all cut up, that you carried it by a string. And it's easier said than done. They are not as forgiving as the soft and soggy pumpkin. I was told today actually that in parts of Spain, in Extremadura, they actually use the infinitely more delicious version of this with watermelons, and I think that's where I'm meant to live, and not Ireland. But at any rate, we chop this off to make our little lid that we can carry it along for safety first and all that. I'm creating here almost like a wall, and then first of all creating a weakness along the texture of the flesh by doing a nice cross to keep the vampires away, and then we'll be scooping it. For scooping I'm going to be using a nice cream scoop because I don't have any woodworking tools. Where's the pity? Which a hooked gouge or a spoon gouge would have actually been perfect actually for this job in hand. So we've got this all ready. Yeah. And now we take a spoon. Not a wooden spoon as I usually would use for many things. Snorts from my beautiful assistant. But we're starting. So as we can see, we are sort of halfway there at the moment. It is as not safe for work, tough as fuck to be actually doing this. The one thing that strikes me, and this is actually quite interesting thought, because this is, I've got to confess, my first time ever doing a pumpkin on my own.
Turnip.
Or turnip, sorry, turnip, thank you, reminded there, because I'm going senile with PhD, is that you'd really, really want to have to do this. It's not something pretty half-hearted like a pumpkin. It is quite physical, and you would really need to have quite tough knives. I'm trying to place myself in the past, and either of them were armed to the teeth with incredibly sharp knives, or they had an awful lot of time to fanny about with woodworking tools, or else they were a lot more muscular than what I am. But the agency involved in this, it's not like the idea of doing a jack-o'-lantern with watermelon, which still lingers on in my mind as one of the most pleasant things I could think of. You really want to do this. So it would be great if you had PMT, because you would stab people like that. Yeah, it's quite rigorous, and so it continues.
2 hours later.
So we have, I was going for my heartthrob Rallihan man, because, you know, that face to die for, possibly literally, in the late Bronze Age. But instead, we used the natural features of the turnip, or rutabaga, to be absolutely botanically correct. And for some totally unknown reason, he has a little nose here, and he looks more querulous, as if he's had a bad day at the horse racing. Shimmy the turnip is taking form, and we'll show you the final thing, because we've just got a little bit more to do in here. But I'm not quite sure if my wrists are ever going to be the same again. Cue dirty laughs, etc. Yeah. Well, we will give you the final update whenever he's all ready to go. Yeah! So, especially for Sion, we have got Shimmy the rutabaga, very much in touch with his old roots. Thank God the flu has meant that I can't smell him. I'm sure he's very pungent, if my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, I couldn't even make a scary one. He is much more full of character. But yeah, the things which I learned from this is especially that you really want to make this. It's not a soft option like the pumpkin. Yeah, there's an awful lot of agency involved. Also, we found that using a skewing motion with a very sharp paring knife was actually the best way of gouging out, and then using the ice cream scoop actually after that. Certainly it would suggest woodwork tools, and a very deliberate choice to make your sound ever so slightly spooky. So from Shimmy and me, good night.